ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्। Hari Om, salutations to all. So welcome to the study of the 15th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. It is called as Purushottama Yoga. One of the most popular chapters also of the Gita, as well as shortest chapters of the Gita, only 20 verses. And we also chant this. Sometimes the whole chapter is chanted before we eat food. Sometimes the specific words Aham Vaishvanaro Bhutva is chanted. When someone passes on also, if we have less time and we are not able to chant all the 18 chapters, then we chant at least chapter 2, chapter 8, chapter 15. So we find that in the Gita, there are 3 chapters which give summary of the Gita. Second chapter, 15th chapter, and the 18th chapter. These 3 are the summary of the whole Gita by themselves. Each chapter has the summary. In that, the longest chapter is 18th, 78 verses. Then comes chapter 2, 72 verses. Then is chapter 15, shortest, only 20 verses. And this chapter is called as Purushottama Yoga. So it is speaking about the Uttama Purusha, the Supreme Purusha. Who is this Purusha? Please remember, we have seen Purusha and Prakriti even in 13th chapter. So Purusha word in this context does not mean a man. Purusha here means Purnatvat Purushaha, that state of fulfillment. And Puraushete, one who is in the hearts of all. That fulfillment, that state of infinite consciousness is in the hearts of all, and that is our true nature. So that which introduces us to our true self is this chapter. Introduces us, many chapters self has been introduced, but 15th chapter, as we say, the essence. If we say 15th chapter is the essence of the Gita, what is the essence of the Gita? Is Gita a Dharma Shastra? Is Gita Moksha Shastra? Was Gita given only to tell Arjun how to do his duties? No doubt, before the Gita, Arjun was a dejected, depressed, despondent Kshatriya who didn't want to fight the Mahabharat war, and he wanted to go away into the forest. And after the Gita, Arjun becomes again dynamic, goes ahead, does his duty, wins the war. So no doubt Gita tells us to do our duties, do it uncompromisingly, do it dedicating it to Bhagavan. But what is the purpose of that? To purify our mind, to know who am I truly. Because Gita is meant for that. Swarupa Dharma I have to know. From Paradharma to Swadharma to Swarupa Dharma I have to come. And hence the essence of the Gita is this, to know who am I truly. And that Uttama Purusha is our true self. It is not some Uttama Purusha somewhere Uttam Purusha again doesn't mean ki acha, some human being who is Uttam, excellent human being. In some context, one can say Purushottam, Purusho mein the Purushottam, Manujo mein Mahamanav. Beautiful songs are there, and Bhagwan Ram is also described as Purushottama. But here, Purushottam word means the self, the supreme Purusha, that infinite consciousness, beyond Kshara Purusha and Akshara Purusha. That 15th chapter will tell you. Then we will see as we go along. Now, this chapter has a beautiful connection. We have to understand the thought flow. In the 12th chapter, Bhagavan said that when Arjun asked the question that those who worship the form who worship the formless, of these two, who is the best? Then Bhagavan at that point said that worship of the formless is very difficult, especially those who are attached to the body. Dehavadbhiravapyate, he said. Kleshodhikatarastesham avyakta sakta chetasam avyakta hi gatir dukkham dehavadbhiravapyate. The worship of the formless is most difficult, especially if I think I am the body, I am this form, then Bhagavan also has to have a form, and we must do the worship of Bhagavan through the form. And he gave the methods of how to worship Bhagavan, what are the qualities of a bhakta, etc. in the 12th chapter. Then we saw 13th chapter, he describes that formless truth through the Kshetra Kshetrajna Vibhaga Yoga, by explaining what is the Gneyam, by explaining who is the Purusha. So 13th chapter described that formless truth. Why one is not able to realize that if it is my nature? Then we saw that it is the 14th chapter which speaks about the three gunas. Identified with the three gunas, one thinks of oneself as a jiva, and then one feels that I am not this, I am this individuality. So one has forgotten one's true self. So when Bhagavan introduced in the 14th chapter the three gunas and how they bind the jiva and what is the state of the uh, gunatita, was a question that Arjuna had asked. That kairlingai strin gunan etan atitya bhavati prabho. That who is this person who goes beyond the three gunas and what are the qualities of such a person? There Bhagavan had answered. See, in this verse 14th chapter, this verse number 19, Bhagavan had said, Nanyam gunebhya kartaram yada drashtanupashyati gunebhyascha param veti madbhavam sodhi gacchati. What did Bhagavan say there? That the three gunas, they are the karta. So, sattva, rajas, tamas. Because of that, we feel, I am the karta, I did this. And because of that, one is bound. But when one realizes ki drashta, I am only a witness actually. The body, mind, intellect are doing the job. Because that is prakriti. Na anyam gunebhya kartaram yada drashta anupashyati. When one says, I am the drashta, I am not the karta. Then gunebhyascha param veti. When one realizes, I am beyond the three gunas, I am the witness, I watch. Mind has now sattva guna, now it has rajo guna, now it has tamo guna. This goes on. So when this person understands, oh, this is, I am only a witness, this comes and goes. Then what one experiences, madbhavam sodhi gacchati. He realizes, I am that infinite consciousness, that drashta is not one individual drashta in one heart. It is one with that supreme consciousness. So the 14th chapter spoke about that state, which is the Purusha. The drashta is the Purusha in us. So through this sadhana of what we call as Tvam Pada sadhana, where one learns to withdraw from whatever one is not and abide as the witness. And realize that witness is none other than infinite consciousness. And that is same in the hearts of all. Now that same 14th chapter, also at the end of it, when the Lakshana of the Gunatita are given, speaks about Bhakti, Ananya Bhakti. 13th chapter also spoke about it. Avyabhichari Bhakti was given in the qualities of Jnanam. 14th chapter also is saying that here, Mam cha yo vyabhicharena, yo avyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate, sagunan samatityaitan Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate. Whoever serves me with single pointed devotion, that person crosses the three gunas and will come to realize the truth. This is called Tatpada Sadhana, where one through surrender to Bhagavan comes to realize the Supreme. Both these verses, one is through Jnana, where we abide as the Sakshi, one is through surrender to Bhagavan, one says, I am not this. These are methods to let go of our false identification so that we realize the Supreme. Then that last chapter, 14th chapter, concluded with this beautiful verse where he says, Brahmano hi pratisthaham amritasya vyayasya cha shashvatasya cha dharmasya sukhasya ekantikasya cha. I am that very foundation, Brahmano hi pratisthaham. And my nature is immortality, changeless absolute truth, eternal. Now when Bhagavan says this 15th chapter is the elaboration of this to tell us our true nature. But why is it that though it is my nature, I am not realizing it? 14th chapter said it was because of three gunas. 15th chapter here is presenting our attachments in the form of this samsara. That it is this samsara because of which I am forgetting that my nature is to be one with the divine. Infinite consciousness is my nature and I am not this body, mind and intellect. So the chapter begins with the description of samsara, that what is this samsara and why this samsara is uh, to be transcended. What are the sorrows in this samsara? No matter how much one goes through sorrow and suffering, one doesn't want to leave samsara. It's like this. I stay in Mumbai. Many times I keep hearing people continuously cribbing, complaining, "Oh, Mumbai, life is very difficult. Travel is so hectic. Pollution has increased." They go on complaining, but they won't leave Mumbai. Samsara is also like that only. Continuously, some or the other sorrow is there, but one doesn't want to leave. So to increase Vairagya, Shankaracharya writes in the introduction of this chapter, he writes that this 15th chapter is meant to understand the limitations of samsara, the dukkha of samsara, so that Vairagya is induced, and we get the desire to rise above this samsara. Having seen, having gone through samsara, he says you drop. So to rise above samsara, the chapter begins. And finally, what is the point there? To make me realize who I am. So this chapter will speak about all the three. See, essence of the Gita also means that Gita will give us the oneness of Jiva, Jagat and Jagadishwara. So what is the nature of Jagat, samsara, and how actually samsara in one way we see as names and forms is the cause of our bondage, and the same if I see it as expression of the divine becomes the cause of my liberation. Who is this Jiva? In the true nature, who is this Jiva? And what is the nature of Jagadishwara and how this Jiva and Jagadishwara are one? Who is this Uttama Purusha? So the supreme truth manifesting as one, appearing as three, Jiva Jagat Jagadishwara, 15th chapter will tell us. So it is essence of the Gita, it is essence of the entire Vedic knowledge also. And that's why Purushottama Yoga. Now, up, along with this, the oneness of, so 15th chapter themes, what are they? First, it will tell us about what is the samsara, what is the sorrow in the samsara. Second, it will tell us, it gives the analogy of a tree. Samsara is like a tree. Then it says you fell the tree, you cut the tree. How to cut this tree of samsara? Meaning how to drop my attachments. Then it will tell us about who is the Jiva, how Jiva is connected to Ishvara, how that Ishvara only is appearing as this whole Srishti. And it will finally tell also, it will also tell us about the oneness of Jiva, Jagat and Jagadishvara, how that Ishvara is in the hearts of all, is in the stomach, is appearing as the food, appearing as the whole Srishti, all that. So oneness of Jiva, Jagat, Jagadishvara also it will say. And lastly, it will also tell us what are the qualities of that person who has realized this oneness. In just 20 verses, the whole theme is given beautifully. And that's why this is one of the most beautiful chapters, shortest chapters, and the essence of the Gita. Now, here it is also, Akhandanaji Maharaj said that this chapter is the chapter where actually, so he builds it up nicely. So he says that, Bhakti Yoga is like the lover and beloved courting each other. There is the Prema Yoga, Bhakti Yoga. Then 13th chapter says, one whom you love, who is he? The nature, the swarupa of that supreme beloved is explained in the 13th chapter. Then he says 14th chapter is to take away our mind from the three gunas and put it more and more towards the beloved. And 15th chapter is actually the marriage of the Jiva and the Ishvara. So he calls this as a parinay. So marriage of the Jiva with the Supreme Purusha as though. Please remember, it's as though because we are not different from Supreme Consciousness. It's not that the Jiva is a small little thing, Jivatma and this Paramatma is big and then Jivatma is mixing with Paramatma. Advaita doesn't say all that. There's only one truth. Then why this analogy of marriage? Because at the moment as though there is a separation, now there is a merging. But there's no separation and merging really speaking. It is an appearance only. The wave and the water. If you see the wave as wave, it is as though separate from the ocean. But if you see it as water, it is one with the ocean. The wave was never separated, nor the wave became one. The wave is always, ocean and wave are together only. It's a question of perception difference, that's all. So as a matter of fact, Akhandananji Maharaj is saying that this chapter is a parinay, is a vivaha of the jiva with Ishvara. So what does one, that's why one says that, in a vivaha, what happens? The one gets married, there's a spouse. Now with the spouse, one shares everything. It is not just the love and attraction, but all the different emotions, so love, compassion, sharing, going through the difficulties, everything is together, being a friend also, walking the path together. So that way, sometimes one has to advise each other, support each other, guide each other, everything. In that way, who is the one who guides, supports, loves, advises, uplifts the jiva? Is that supreme consciousness, is Ishvara. And hence, this chapter, when we say in this chapter, it will come Sarva Bhavena Bharata. Sarva Bhavena, the jiva or the bhakta who loves Bhagavan, like how a spouse relationship is, lover and beloved, when they become one, when they get married, then they share everything with each other. They are walking the path of dharma together. In that way, one who loves Bhagavan in all ways, that bhakta is the Jivan Mukta. And that bhakta will attain Jivan Mukti also. So that way, this chapter is a very beautiful essence, and here is where we enter now into this chapter where the analogy of a inverted tree is given. The chapter does not have a question, so there is no question of Arjun. Bhagwan, out of his compassion to make Arjun realize this supreme state, starts by himself. So let us see. Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha. अथ पञ्चदशोऽध्यायः श्रीभगवानुवाच ऊर्ध्वमूलमधः शाखम् अश्वत्थं प्राहुरव्ययम् छन्दांसि यस्य पर्णानि यस्तं वेद स वेदवित्. So Bhagavan says, Urdhvamulam adha shakham. The roots are above, branches are below. Of what? Ashwatham, of this Ashwatha tree, of this people tree. Inverted tree it is. Ashwatham Prahuravyayam. And what kind of a tree it is? Avyayam. It is changeless, imperishable. So Ashwatham Prahuravyayam. What are the leaves of this? Chandamsi Yasya Parnani. The Vedas are the leaves. Yastam Veda Sa Vedavit. And whoever knows it is the knower of the Veda. Now this is the literal meaning of the shloka. And one may say, what kind of a tree is this? What a weird tree it is. How can there be a tree which has roots above, branches below? Very, very interesting. There are trees like this, where roots above, branches below. Lots of them in the world. One can see. You must have seen also. But one would not recognize it at that time. Next time you go, you can recognize. Think about it. Have you seen a tree like that? Ulta, branches above and roots below. Roots above and branches below. See, one way say literally, Swamiji, this is only a symbolic depiction. There is no such tree. But in certain ways, one can identify these trees are there. So if you go in a, let us say, a park, and there is a nice still lake in that park, or a small pond also, and there is a tree which is growing on the banks of it, then you will find the reflection you can see. Branches will go below, root will look above. But obviously, that's a reflection, but that's a nice analogy there, because this whole world is also like that. It's a reflection of that infinite consciousness. So, of course, physically, it is not that the root is above and branch is below. In that, in the analogy, the reflection you will see there. But here, what does it mean? This is a depiction of samsara vriksha. So, samsara is called as a vriksha, first of all. Next time you go to a lake or any pond, you watch, you will see reflection is there. Reflection and the original, they look the same. And they are same actually. And the reflection has no existence apart from the original. So remember, 15th chapter. Each of us is a reflection of infinite consciousness only. Just that through identified with the mind, we are thinking we are this jiva, but actually we are that infinite consciousness. So that's what the 15th chapter is trying to tell us. This specific analogy, now why is a tree analogy given here? Samsara is compared to a tree, and that to an eternal tree, avyayam. Because it has no beginning, it has no end, it keeps going on and on and on. Though it is continuously changing, Cycles and cycles of creation will keep happening. Even pralay happens, it will become unmanifest for some time, again it will become manifest. Again pralay happens, again again Srishti happens, it will become manifest, again pralay happens, it will become unmanifest. Cycles and cycles of creation will go on. So it is avyaya, it is beginningless and endless. But main reason why it is said vriksha analogy is given because vrishchanat vriksha, that which can be felled, that which can be destroyed, cut. Meaning the individual can exit out of this. Cycles of creation are going on till ignorance is there. Till one is in the dream world, the dream goes on. The moment one says, I wake up, then the whole thing is ended. So this vriksha also is like that. How every single thing is perishable here. In that same way, the vriksha is like that, which can be felled. And we also find that specifically this Ashwatha vriksha is given as the example. So Ashwatha vriksha is because of the strength that it has. Horses can be tied below it, and that's why it's called Ashwatha. One meaning is that where horses can be tied. So many, horses are tied below the tree just for them to rest, etc. So it means that samsara is very strong. Attachments that we have towards people, things, beings, situations, very strong, very powerful. So it is Ashwatha tree. Second is, it is also every single moment perishing. Na shva tishthat iti ashwatha. Tomorrow which will not be there. Tomorrow meaning next moment it is not there. It is so ephemeral, changing, very fast. What we say drashta nashta swabhava. As you see also it is getting destroyed, but it is limitation of our senses, so we are seeing things as tangible. Science also says this whole thing is perishable. Perishing actually. It is energy in motion continuously changing. So this tree analogy is to make us understand this whole samsara is like this. It is so ephemeral. The more one remembers this ephemeral nature of samsara, more vairagya one will get. Earlier also Bhagavan said that anityam asukham lokam. It is anitya, it is temporary. And there is no sukha here. Imam prapya bhajasvamam. He said, remember me. I am the changeless truth. If you hold on to the changeless, one can play with the changing. What doesn't know the changeless, then one will get more and more bound with the changing and more sorrow it leads to. So one has to see clearly the nature of samsara. This tree analogy is to be reflected upon. That what is the nature of the samsara? We keep wanting so many things and we get also many things, but does the wanting stop? Wants get fulfilled, but wanting doesn't get fulfilled. The sense of incompleteness, emptiness, loneliness continues, and we may learn to escape from it through whatever our work and technology and phone and entertainment and various kinds of clubs and parties and socializing and sports and so many things, and nothing wrong by itself in doing any of these. But when one wants to run away from the sense of loneliness, samsara is like that. As long as I identify with this one BMI, I will feel lonely. And so the chase starts to become more fulfilled, more happy, get this, get that, go here, go there, become this, become that. And after getting all that also one is not happy. For some time one is satisfied, then one wants more. So wants keep getting fulfilled, but wanting doesn't get fulfilled. The more one reflects on it, how many wants of mine are fulfilled and how many things are still there pending. What one has attained also, what one wanted to achieve, one has achieved. If one achieves it, there is a fear of losing it. If one doesn't achieve, there is an anger. Sometimes there is greed. So many things one goes through. That nature of samsara one has to understand. It creates dependencies. One feels without this I can't be happy. Habits are created, dependencies are created on people. Future is uncertain, so one doesn't know what will happen tomorrow. Again, that is an anxiety. Just a minute. Ah. So we were examining. So the nature of samsara, one has to observe carefully. What is the nature of this samsara? One has to see for oneself. Introspection has to happen. I am just sharing some principles here, but one I can identify okay, what type of anxiety do I have for future? What regrets of the past do I have? What are my attachments in the present? Does the mind have peace? One is running behind so many things. Again, as a duty, one has to do some things, it's all right. But when one is depending on things for happiness, for people on happiness, when this happens, then I will be happy. Then one is in a continuous chase. One postpones sadhana, one postpones making the mind still. So the samsara is like that, and the more extrovertedness, the more one is pulled out. Again, it's not because of outside, it is because of my internal vasana and my ignorance, my desires, mainly that one goes extrovert. But that's the nature of samsara. And whatever I grasp, it will not remain with me. Things change, people change. The true colors manifest in some time. That's because we spend some time, we understand, then we realize, array, this person I thought is some, I had a different imagination about this person. Now the person turned out to be something else only. And how much sorrow and suffering is there if we actually look? Ephemeral nature of life means that so much sorrow and suffering. One is caused by attachment, second is the very nature of life being temporary itself is miserable. Somebody whom I love very dearly will just pass on, gone. Now I'm in misery. Sometimes, unfortunately, that happens. All family members gone. Now this person is left alone. Now person feels, what is the purpose of my life? Why should I live? For whom should I live? Husband gone, child gone, brother gone, nobody is there. Now for whom I will live? These things happen. This is the nature of samsara. That's why if one understands this, ki I am a jiva, I have come here to evolve, and this is a part of some karma, it is going to go. I have to go through it. If I say, there is no purpose for me to live, I am going to commit suicide, what is going to happen? I am only escaping from my sorrow. Same mind is going to come ahead. There is no escape from it. If one thinks that next life I will get other people, so what is my purpose? Just to be with people? No. We are with people to exhaust certain karma so that we learn our lessons and then we evolve. To realize who we are. Now that purpose of life, if it is not clear, then the samsara will make us suffer. Many times we lose hope. One engages in self-destructive things, tries to even attempt on one's life. This is the nature of samsara. If I get something also, I am miserable. If I don't get something also, I am miserable. Misery is the bottom line is samsara. That's why samsara is like that. Samyak sarati. just slips. One man, he went with his friend to one asylum. His friend was a psychiatrist. So he went with his friend, and the psychiatrist, he said, now it's the time for me to take rounds, come with me. So he was going and he was seeing different types of patients are there. Somebody was sitting quietly, sad, depressed. Somebody was talking to only oneself. Somebody was, scratching one's head. Each one was very going through something or the other. One person was having a photograph and he's saying, Lulu, my dear Lulu, I love you, Lulu. So this friend asked the psychiatrist, what happened to him? So he said, this person was in love with this girl called Lulu and he could not marry this Lulu. So he has lost his mental balance. So he said, so that is sad. And they continued ahead. And after a few beds they crossed, they found another person who was absolutely irritated, frustrated, and he was shouting, Lulu, oh Lulu, because of you, I am in this situation. So he said, what happened to him? He says, that man is mad because he couldn't marry Lulu. This man is mad because he married Lulu. And that anecdote ends there with this nice line. He says that there are only two afflictions of human being: getting what you want, not getting what you want. Either ways, human being suffers. If we get what we want, also we suffer because we are scared it will go away, or we suddenly realize that this is not what I really wanted. And if we don't get, then we feel ki because I didn't get, so I am deprived of my happiness, I am a victim. Either ways, one suffers. This is samsara. If one understands this very clearly, then the samsara vriksha becomes clear to us. Ki this is the samsara vriksha, where the roots are not seen only. In the tree, the roots are below the ground, not visible. In this context, why it is said ulta, that we will see. But roots are not visible. Same way, when I look at samsara, everything is ephemeral, changing, perishing. What is there which one can hold on to? Think about it, if one is in a river drowning, one wants some support to hold on to, and that support has to be something very strong and sturdy to stop oneself from drowning. What is there like that in samsara which I can hold on to? If things which are flowing in the water, one tries to hold on to them, they themselves are not able to survive. We hold on to them, then everyone will, just drown. Same way, everything and everyone in this world is perishable. What will I hold on to? Whom will I depend on to get permanent happiness? The more one thinks, the more one understands this urdhva moolam adha shakham. Ashwatham prahuravyam. It is ashwatha. This word ashwatha is what one has to reflect on. Na shvah tishtati. It will not remain tomorrow. And one builds so many hopes. I thought this will happen, that will happen. I had these dreams, this person had these dreams, but suddenly this person passed away. Yes, there is no doubt that happens. That is the nature of samsara. And it's not that the person's dream is shattered and will never attain it. Karma was that much, came here, exhausted, went, but the continuation will happen. So again, Garbhavas will happen, again the Jiva will come because that desire was there. Our culture doesn't say man proposes, God disposes. Our culture says till you don't achieve it, you'll keep coming back. And so, how many times one has already achieved what one wanted, still one wants to build more dreams, one wants to have more things. How many times will one come again and again? So, nature of samsara is not only this life I have to observe, but also observe how this becomes the cause of my continuous cycles of life and death. It is so. This is the Vairagya. What Shankaracharya wrote, ki this 15th chapter, this analogy is, and even the whole chapter itself by itself, is to help us to get Vairagya. By reflecting on all this, that what is the nature of this samsara? Not only this life, how many more lives I have to take? How many more lives I already took? That is Ashwatha. Very strong attachments are there to samsara. So no matter how much I try, I am not able to drop, and that becomes the cause of my sorrow. My attachments only bring me back again and again. Desires, attachments, karma, they all are different expressions of ignorance. They'll keep bringing me back. That is Ashwatha. And it is very strong. Ashwatham. So the more I understand this is why in the Upanishad, Mundaka Upanishad, they said Pariksha Lokan. All the lokas, this wise person has examined not only this world, not only Bhuloka. Why do we study Puranas? Why do we study Itihasa, Mahabharata, Ramayana? Think about it. The main purpose is to get Vairagya. Now we get into unnecessary whether this happened, didn't happen, is it factual, is it symbolic? There are certain things which are factual, there are certain things which are symbolic, certain things which are mystical, certain things which are, to apply, practice, sadhanas are given. There are different reasons, but the main purpose of the entire Veda as well as the Puranas and the Itihasas is what? To get us Vairagya, to help us to know the truth. That's all. And so when we study, we understand that even if I get highest standard of living, even if I go to Swarga, even if I go anywhere else, in the 8th chapter we saw, no, Bhagavan said, Abrahma Bhuvana Loka Punaravartino Arjuna. From here till Brahmalok, one may go anywhere, but one will again come back. Because the life is like that in all the worlds. It is temporary. Samsara means all this. It's not only this one life, one world. All the different realms of consciousness. All are perishable. Ashwatha they are. And one will again come back. This is the realm where one can evolve as a human being, speed up the evolution. It will come ahead. Karmanubandhini Manushya Loke. Importance of Manushya Loka will come. But the point is this is understanding of samsara. So when we read Ki Indra, because the king of gods also, still he also feels insecure. Having attained that position, he is also threatened by somebody who is doing tapasya. Pleasures, highest pleasures one may have, still one is limited. Which is why Bhagavan says, Mam upetya to kaunteya punarjanmana vidyate. He says, one who attains oneness with me, for that person there is no punarjanma. So this punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi janani jathare shayanam. One has to feel that. Why will I again come back into this world? Think about it. What all sorrows are there in this world already? What are people doing? What level of hypocrisy is there? Countries are exploiting the world and they are calling themselves developed countries, making people fight, killing people, innocent people, funding all those things. What level of hypocrisy? What level of ego is there? How much exploitation, sorrow, misery, selfishness, greed, jealousy. Baapre, look at the samsara. If looking at all this samsara, one still doesn't get vairagya, then one is deluded only. And with technology, it becomes in some ways more easier to understand. If one uses it appropriately, then one will know, okay, what it is so hollow and what one is chasing. So when one sees this world, this life here, plus the life in so many other lokas, so many other yonis, when we understand that big picture, then one says, what is this samsara and why will I again come back? See, it is a scripture which tells us all this. Otherwise, who tells us about the sorrow in the womb? Does anybody tell? Any science is there to tell that? Will science ever tell what is the sorrow that science can tell you how the fetus is growing at each stage? They will show how the child is developing, and all that has its own value and importance. But our Shastra says this is Naraka. Garbhavasi is a Naraka. If you read that Garbhastuti in Bhagavatam, it comes. The Jiva is praying to Bhagavan, saying, I am very sorry, Bhagavan, I don't want to come back into this Naraka once again. So people are scared of Naraka, na? And they'd say, Ki Naraka, who has seen Naraka? Does it exist? Does it not exist? Who cares about it? At the maximum, they will say Naraka is only around us. If some society is in harmony, then there's Swarga. If it is in disturbance, there is Naraka. If my mind is disturbed, there is Naraka. If my mind is happy, then there's Swarga. Okay, that is one acceptable understanding, but that doesn't mean that there is no other Naraka. And there are different worlds which are there, different lokas, higher worlds, lower worlds, all that is a part of samsara. But one of the narakas is this garbha, coming into the womb of the mother, suffering there 9 months. Who wants to do that again and then be born in this world, and by the time one comes back, the world will be in much more terrible state? And for what joy one will come? Just to experience some temporary things. The more one reflects on this, the more vairagya one will get. So this chapter, 15th chapter, though we may chant it very, sometimes mechanically, sometimes just as a formality, but each verse is very powerful. One word is so powerful to get vairagya, to understand the true purpose of life, to turn within and to realize the truth. This is not to escape from my duty, but to do the duty also. The purpose is vairagya. In Tulsi Ramayana, Tulsidaji says, Dharmate virati jogate jnana. When one has done one's duty, one will get vairagya. If I have done my duties sincerely, without allowing likes and dislikes to overpower me, I will get vairagya. If that person has got vairagya, then only that person can turn within and realize his Purushottama. So the chapter begins with qualification that a seeker needs. It will end with the state of realization of that seeker. That seeker has become Jivan Mukta. See how beautiful again the essence of 15th chapter, when we say the essence of Gita is 15th chapter. What qualities does a seeker require to realize the truth? It will start with that. Then it will tell us the ways to develop those qualities, how to get out of attachment, then to realize the truth, and what will be the state after the truth. Full thing, full journey of a seeker from sadhak to siddha. And after Siddhi, what is the state? Everything explained in 15th chapter. Simple, beautifully explained. So Ashwatha is this, to understand very clearly what is the nature of this samsara. Because if I don't understand the nature of samsara, I don't want to come out of it. And or if I understand the nature of samsara, this is very enjoyable, pleasurable, maja hai yahan pe, what is the problem? ठीक है, continue. As long as one is a child, one enjoys playing with the toys. Play. At some point, one will outgrow it. Then one will say, no, no. What is this? Play with the toys of the world. One will understand, there is nothing here. That person will turn inside. So when he says Urdhva Moolam Adha Shakham, the most important thing that samsara does is this: what? It makes us forget Bhagavan. The glitter and the glamour of the world is such that one forgets Bhagavan. One is running behind Maya of Bhagavan. Bhagavan one has forgotten. That is what is the power of samsara. How will one remember Bhagavan? That's why satsang is required. Regular satsang is required to bring my mind back. Otherwise, again it gets lost, goes into samsara, gets attached, gets beaten up also, doesn't want to leave it, very stressed, worried, anxious, but doesn't remember Bhagavan. All those things will consume that jiva. Stress, worry, tension, anxiety, depression, suicidal tendencies, so many difficulties. But still that jiva will say, which God, what God, I don't believe in God. It's all human being created, it's all imaginary, this is not scientific. Continues to suffer, but one will not remember Bhagavan. This is the nature of samsara. Maya is that powerful. By some grace of that same infinite consciousness, Bhagwan, whom one has rejected, as though that satsang comes into the life of that person, some strong wake up calls come, then that person, as though comes out of this, has a desire to come out of this samsara. So, Ashwatha, the one should reflect more and more on this. What is the ephemeral nature of this world? What is death? And final thing is what? One will die. Body will die. What one thought of oneself is, I am this. And while living for long thinking, I am this, I have to abandon this. Temporarily, I came into this. I stay here. I have to drop this. So, this is not even me. And for this, what all one is compromising? Just for some comfort, conveniences, luxuries for this. And through this, the mind, which is identified with this. Bas. This body is going to remain here. Paschat jivati jarjar dehe vartam kopina prichhati gehe. The same people who loved one will not even bother when once the person is dead. He is not even called as a person, he is called dead body. The more one reflects, books like Bhajagovindam, Vairagya Shatakam, when one reads, one will get even so many stories in Puranas. They are to induce Vairagya, to shake us up from that delusion one is, that strong hold Maya is having, that has to be shaken up. So, Urdhva Moolam, Adha Shakham, Ashwatham, this is Ashwatha tree, strong tree of samsara. Now, why is the inverted analogy given? Sorry. When we say roots are above, Moolam, so roots will nurture, nourish the tree. In general, roots are below in the ground, and then water, you put the water and then the manure and fertilizer or whatever you want to put there to nurture the tree. And it is the roots only which supply everything to the tree, and then the tree grows stronger and stronger. The roots represent the cause, and this one is the effect. The tree is the effect. So, what are the roots of this tree? Urdhvam, up, is indicating subtlety in this analogy. Urdhva Moolam, Adha Shakham. So, up is not a geographical place here. Up indicates the cause, which is subtler. Always the cause is subtler than the effect. Mud is the cause. Pot, cup, pitcher, saucer is the effect. The cause is subtler than the effect always. Cause remains even without the effect, but effect cannot remain without the cause. Seed is the cause. In one seed, the full tree is there in unmanifest form. And then slowly, when that seed is nurtured properly with water and all that, then that tree seed will manifest as the whole tree. So the idea here is, up means that which is subtle. What is the root of the creation? This is the point. Up indicates Bhagavan, infinite consciousness. That the source of this Srishti is changeless truth. That changeless is appearing as the changing. Urdhva Moolam. That is the meaning here. How the roots are nourishing the tree, in that way, who is nourishing this whole samsara? So many things we achieve in this world. We think by our karma we have achieved. Who gave us that power to do karma? Bhagavan will say in this chapter, Aham Vaishvanaro Bhutva Praninam Deham Ashritaha. I am there in your Jataragni. Oh no, Swami is metabolic fire. Don't bring religion into it. This is science. Science can only explain why the digestion is happening, how it is happening. Science can only explain how digestion is happening. Why this system is like this. Who created? What is the intelligent cause behind it? That science cannot explain. And science also cannot explain beyond a point. They have to come to consciousness because everything else is jada vastu. So who gave us the power to even act at the body level? Prana is maintaining this body. How? Can, with all the scientific development of medical science also today, can you prolong anybody's life? Young people will drop dead suddenly, and old people are living on and on and on sometimes. And if you want to prolong the life with heart and lung machine and all that, you can only do the pumping. If jiva is gone, nothing. One can't do anything. Science, how much it will tell? How much can it control? Nothing much. Yes, it has its own utility value and we use it, no doubt. But that power comes from where? To think, to act. This prana is there in this body. How does it function? Then we do actions. How are we getting karma phala? It karma phala is coming from Bhagwan. See, Shankaracharya ji writes very beautifully in this commentary here that Yasmad Mad Adhinam Karminam Karma Phalam. Bhagwan says karma phala is in my control. Bhagwan decides now which karma phala, which jiva has to get when, because jivas have done so many desires, they have so many intertwined karmas. How to bring jivas together? Now, if suppose 126 of you are here right now, Ishvara has brought us together. Whatever karma we have done to deserve the satsang, to study the Gita, who is bringing all this together? Who is creating that environment? How are we even sitting and listening? This technology which is there, so many factors are responsible for this one experience to happen. So in this introduction only Shankaracharya says that Yasmad Mad Adhinam Karminam Karma Phalam and Jnaninam Cha Jnana Phalam. And those who are attaining knowledge also, they are attaining by grace of Bhagwan only. Strange thing is many karmis, people who are doing karma, they don't think that Bhagwan is even involved in this. They say it is my work, my bhav, my hard work, my effort. I am a self-made man. Which is why Bhagwan said in that 14th chapter, Nanyam gunebhya kartaram. When a gunebhyascha param veti, when one realizes, I am not the karta actually, then only one realizes the truth. Till then the ahankara is very strong. Then samsara, one will keep getting bound in it. One will face suffering, no doubt. So Bhagwan is the one who is empowering the jiva to do karma. Jiva gets karma phala by Bhagwan's grace. Jiva gets equipment by Bhagwan's grace. Who is that Bhagwan? How is he nourishing? That is the root. And just like the root is not visible, we have forgotten. Bhagwan is the root. And that is the cause of our sorrow. Samsara, we are stuck because we have forgotten the root. So the reflection appears real. If I actually think, it's very interesting, no, that analogy of reflection of the tree in the water. Here the water etc. is not given, but it just extend it. If you see the fruit in the reflection, apple let us say is there, you get tempted, apple, so loving, nice, so tasty apple, I love apple. And you jump in that water to pluck that reflected apple. What will happen? You will get apple. One will only get wet. It is like that. In this world, which is a reflection of the divine, we have forgotten the divine. The actual tree where the apple is, there one is not going. The reflection where it is, one is jumping into the water to eat that reflection. One will not find it. Example limitation is there in that when you fall in water, then immediately you realize there is no, one may not even jump there. That's another point. But in the world, we are jumping because this actual tree with the fruit in that example is visible and reflection also is visible. But in samsara, the root is not visible. So the real source of happiness is Bhagwan. All that we seek, love, peace, happiness, success, everything is a source, knowledge. Bhagavan is the source of all that, but we are not seeing that. Invisible, urdhvam. And then I am running for that in the world. And even if I get it, I am not happy. So one meaning of root is that the root is that which nurtures, nourishes. So Bhagavan is the root. So that's why he says here that um, this urdhvam, how does Shankaracharya define urdhvam? So he says urdhva moolam kalatah sukshmatvat. It is subtle because of time. Why? Because cause is earlier, effect is later. And here it is Bhagavan is kalatita, because Srishti itself, Kala is a part of Srishti, a part of creation. Bhagavan is beyond Kala. So urdhva means that which is changeless. Time itself is a part of creation, hence that creation continuously changes. That which is beyond time. So kalatah sukshmatvat karanatvat, it is the very cause. Without it, this whole Srishti will not be there. As we said, effect doesn't exist without the cause. If there is no mud, there is no pot at all. No, Swamiji, without mud also pot exists. Where? The material cause is mud. So what is the material cause of the universe? Oh, no, five elements are the material cause of the universe. From where they came? No, we created. They got created because of Big Bang. That is only how they got created. You are explaining how, not the source. Source is from where? That is infinite consciousness only appearing as this. And today with quantum physics, one is able to understand where one says the whole universe is a field of possibilities only. And it is the observer which collapses the field of possibility into one experience. And so they are saying simultaneously all possibilities are working in different parallel universes also. Is all appearance of consciousness, and then the observer decides one, and then that is the experience that the individual is having. So each individual is that consciousness actually. But one doesn't know it. So one is thinking that it is somewhere there, the world is real. But today science is also saying it is not real. It is a field of, it's a field literally. If you are awake, then you see, because you are collapsing it from many possibilities to one experience by your choice. Otherwise, it is one field of possibilities. By itself, it doesn't have anything specific, concrete. It is just field of possibilities, and then you are collapsing it. That is science saying today. So, sukshmatvat, karanatvat, it is the very cause. Then he says nityatvat, because it is nitya, it is eternal. The cause is changeless cause. It will never perish. It will never change also. And mahatvat, it is the greatest, because it is indestructible. What is that? Brahma. He says urdhvamiti Brahma. Maya Shaktiman. It is that one whose control the whole Maya is, and appearing, using that Maya, it is appearing as the Srishti. So urdhva moolam means Bhagavan. Call it Brahma, which is nameless, formless, attributeless, infinite consciousness, or call it Ishvara, where Brahman plus Maya is equal to Ishvara, is the source. If I see the source, I am freed from samsara. All our work is only to do that. We keep coming to samsara to go back to the source. Till we don't find the source, we'll keep coming back to samsara. Now if somebody says, but why did we come to samsara first and foremost? That is assuming that this whole thing is real. From Vedanta standpoint, one says there is no Srishti only. There is no Jiva, no Jagat, no Jagadishvara. That's the highest standpoint, which is what one has to discover finally, which is the state of fulfillment. Infinity, there is no duality in infinity. There is only one infinite, or Dvaita it is called, where there is no duality. But if one sees the creation as real, because I see the body as real, then one says, okay, then the source is that. From there only this came. Rope did never produce the snake. But if at all you are seeing the snake, then what is the cause of that snake? Rope only. There cannot be any other cause. So, Urdhva Moolam means that how the roots nourish, in that way the creation Every creature in this creation is nurtured, nourished by Bhagwan. Second, it is that which is subtle, so it is above, and it is divine. So, what is the meaning of that? Just like that cause in another form is the effect. If the cause is divine, every single thing here is divine. This is the third implication of it. All of us are divine. How about Swamiji? They are acting as a demon. That is because the mind is corrupted. And so there what one has to do, one has to protect, one has to do one's duty, defend oneself, even if one has to destroy the dharmic forces, one has to do, but with no hatred. It is like a part of the body which is infested, one has to cut, then one can't do anything. Same way that mind is given opportunities, Bhagwan will also give opportunities for that mind to transform. But if it doesn't, it has to be destroyed, one will destroy that, and then at some point it will transform, going through various, many experiences. So, we have that clarity that if the cause is divine, the effect also is appearance of that. So, we respect everyone as divine. But if somebody doesn't understand that philosophy and takes us for a ride, then one has to fight and defend and protect. So, cause is divine, effect also is divine. Urdhva Moolam Adha Shakham means that. Just like in that analogy of the tree, in that reflection, the tree's reflection only is seen in that water. It is not different. Same way, if the cause is divine, effects are all divine. So not only human beings, not only specific type of human beings, consciousness is same in everyone, including plants, birds, trees, animals, objects, everything. One truth only. So Urdhva Moolam, Adha Shakham. And if you see this inverted tree, you can experience in the personality also. How? You see the diagram of the nerves. The brain, all the nerves are connected to the brain and then they flow down into the whole body. Urdhva Moolam Adha Shakham. Gurudev gives example in this commentary about the family tree. He says you draw your family tree, there the roots will be above and branches will be below. So very nicely he writes here, Luckily we who are educated in modern universities have a similar use of the term tree in our history textbooks. The family trees of kings and dynasties are without an exception shown as branching down from their ancestral source. Not only kings, it will be for anybody. You write your own family tree, ancestors, you will write great grandfather. Then he had 3 children. Then each of those children had two children. Each of them then married. Then they had another three children. So it will branch like this. It will keep on increasing. Urdhva Moolam Adha Shakham. So one meaning is this Urdhvam means this. What? It is that infinite consciousness which is the source. Now Urdhva Moolam and these roots are very sacred. Without the roots, tree doesn't exist. Without consciousness, the Srishti doesn't exist only. That one has to remember. This doesn't have an independent existence. Just like a tree does not have an independent existence, the changing world has no independent existence. There is a changeless truth which is the substratum of this changing world. And that is what one has to identify. So, Urdhva Moolam, Adha Shakham. Realize that which is changeless and don't get attached to samsara because this is perishing, changing continuously. That's why the distinction is made. This is urdhva and this samsara is adha, is down. Now adha means what? The cause of the creation by itself, changeless truth, Brahman is that. Now if I say creation is there, then everything from Brahma as the creator, the Hiranyagarbha, the total mind. So this Mahat Tattva, Hiranyagarbha, Panchatanmatras, Ahankara, Buddhi, Avyakta, all this what we say now, all that is Adha. Urdhva is only the infinite consciousness, Maya Pati or Maya Shaktiman, what Shankaracharya ji says. That Brahman is that Urdhvam, changeless, absolute, nameless, formless truth, consciousness. Adha Shakham, when we say, Adha means that, down. So whole Srishti, including the Hiranyagarbha, the total mind which we call Brahmaji, Mahat Tattva, everything is below. Urdhva Moolam, Adha Shakham. So don't think of it, Urdhva is up somewhere, Adha is down somewhere. It is not physical up and down in that sense. It is cause and effect. So the ultimate causeless cause is Urdhvam. When that cause becomes the cause for this effect, if I am seeing effect, then that is the cause. Then that whole thing, what is the cause of this whole Srishti? Then we say, yes, that changeless, causeless cause only is appearing as total mind. Like how we say, if you take the example of the waker and the dreamer, the waker lying on the bed is Urdhva Moolam. That time the waker's mind alone is, there is no duality. Now that waker's mind, using the power of Maya, becomes dream creator. Now that dream creator produces the dream world, so 5 elements and the things in the world and the gross elements, and then the whole Srishti will come out properly. 24 tattvas, what we say. All that is Adha Shakham, the dream creator, the dream material with which he creates the 5 elements, the tanmatras, the grossification, the bodies of the jivas, then the individuality, all this, the objects in the world, this whole thing is Adha Shakham. Waker's mind is the Urdhva Moolam. So Urdhva Moolam, Adha Shakham. But what is all this? The dream creator and the dream world and the dream objects is all nothing but Waker's mind only. That is the point of understanding, that Urdhva Moolam is not okay, Moola is somewhere. Tree is different, roots are different, two different things. No, the root only is manifesting as the tree. Cause only is appearing as the effect. And that's why this Adha means that. It does not mean down. It means everything other than Paramatma, other than Brahman is all Adha. So Urdhva Moolam, Adha Shakham. And it is branches. It is the trunk of the tree. It is the branches. It is all the tree itself. Urdhva Moolam, Adha Shakham. And what tree is it? Ashwatham. It is the tree which is called the Ashwatha tree. Prahuhu Avyayam. And it is called as imperishable, changeless. So root is changeless, that is understandable. But the samsara also is not perishable by itself, in the sense that it will go on. It will never be that samsara got destroyed fully. In samsara, everything is getting destroyed, no doubt. But this tendency to keep getting destroyed is not going to change. If I think that some point in time this Srishti will become sthir, it will never. It is continuously changing, perishable, perishing. So it will never become, if one says ki, if I get this much, then everything will be fine. It will not. It will appear fine for some time, then suddenly some disturbance will happen again, internally, externally. How much can one go on, waiting? When I get this bungalow, when I get that promotion, when I get this money, when this project is over. People would have told us, na, 10 standard kar lo, your life is set. 12 standard kar lo, your life is set. Arey, I finished 10 standard, 12 standard. Now you finish graduation, your life is set. Then you get married, your life is set. You get a job, your life is set. They will go on telling, and one keeps doing all that, and still one doesn't feel settled by the time to die comes. Gone. So idea is what? To understand that this is the nature of samsara, it is avyayam. This principle of change is changeless. It will go on changing. So avyayam means that the samsara is like this. And what are the Vedas here? What are the leaves of this tree? The leaves are the Vedas. And whoever knows this samsara tree is the knower of the Veda. So the second line we will take up in our next satsang. For today, I will stop here because that leaves topic is a different topic and we have just completed our time. So I will stop here. Please read commentary of Gurudev. Is very beautiful commentary on this 15th chapter. And we continue in our satsang in the next week. So I already put it on the group, but I'm sharing it once again that we have the link. So these recordings are there. Those recordings will be put up on the Google Drive. And right now, because this 15th chapter is many people chant it and they would like to know the meaning, etc. So this is also getting live streamed on Chinmay Shivam YouTube channel. So in case you have any challenge in accessing the talks on Google Drive, you go to Chinmay Shivam YouTube channel and then you will see chapter 15. Go to the video section and you will find, and then you can access from there also. In case any of you want to revisit it or you want to, if you miss any satsang, then you can. We will conclude with the arati, and then if there are any questions, one can ask those questions. So we thank all our Yajmans, the Mukhya Yajmans for the whole series. Ajay Kasotia ji, Tarana Khubchandani ji, Kalpana Morparia ji, Parag Wagh, Ajay Merchant ji, Bharat Khanna ji, Deepika Bakshi ji, and Vandana Jagwani ji. Aarti Yajmans for all the sessions: Vino Munshi ji, Dipti Gandhi ji, Jyotsna Nevatia ji, Rashmi Anand ji, Rajan Saxena ji, Vipul Dalal ji, Hemant Kumar ji, Nalini ji, Sudhir Merchant ji. Dainik Yajman for today are Chawla Bhimani ji, Preeti Trivedi ji, and Manjari Parekh ji. And the Aarti Yajmans for today are Rita Vishwanath ji, Geeta Balsara ji, and Pradeep Shroff ji. So we invoke Bhagwan's grace, Gurudev's blessings on all the Yajmans, their families, and everyone present here. May Bhagwan bless us with more and more Vairagya. May we see the nature of samsara and learn to be detached and discover the true source of happiness as the self. Om Tat Sat. Jai Shri Krishna.
Om Jai Bhagavad Geeta, Maya Jai Bhagavad Geeta, Hariya Kamala Viharini, Sundara Sukunite. Om Jai Bhagavad Geeta, Karma Sumarma Prakashini, Kama Sakti Hara, Tattva Jnana
Okay. Any questions? You can raise your hand and ask. Okay. One. Sthula, Sukshma Karana, Mahakaran. Can Urdhva Mula be called Mahakaran? See, the Sthula, Sukshma, Mahakaran, etc. will all come in the Adha only. Because if I see the effect, then yes, that is the cause. So Brahman is the cause, which is Urdhvam. And that Brahman using Maya has become Avyakta, Mahatattva, Hiranyagarbha, what we say, the Virat, all that, whole Srishti. That is all Adha only. Causeless cause is Brahman, that is Urdhvam. Everything else comes as Adha. Maximum one can say only Ishvara. Brahman and Ishvara is Urdhvam. Everything else is down, Adha. Please explain Prahur Avyayam. Avyayam, imperishable. See, even as a tree, people tree will be there for a long time. Many generations sometimes will see people tree. Samsara is in that sense Avyayam. Because as we said, cycles and cycles of creation will keep happening. It will never be that samsara will be finished. No, it will only go into avyakta, again, vyakta, again avyakta. This will keep going on. So the principle that samsara is changing is a changeless principle. Avyaya means that. Samsara vriksha is a avyaya vriksha. The source of this is also avyaya. That is imperishable Brahman, which is from the standpoint of the absolute truth, which is beyond name, form, object, beyond desha, kala, vastu. So it is truly imperishable. That is called absolute immortality, absolute truth, which is really the consciousness, which is called avyaya. But when this avyaya is used for samsara, it is only meant to say that as a principle, the samsara is continuously changing and this will go on eternally. It will never happen, the samsara will not change. It is perishable, it is finite, it will keep on changing. And it will come from manifest, unmanifest to manifest, it will change even in that, again it will go back to unmanifest, this will go on. And that's what is called as avyaya. Prahuhu avyayam, the wise people. Prahuhu indicates the wise people, that word is implied. Wise people call this tree, Ashwatha tree, as having roots above, branches below, and they call it imperishable. So both meanings you can understand. Imperishable from Urdhva, Avyaya as Urdhva means changeless Brahman, consciousness. And if you say Adha, the samsara, then the principle is continuously changing and that is changeless principle, and so it is Avyaya. Third meaning Avyaya, if you want to say, then that same Brahman only appearing as this. So we have to find that Avyaya. What is that changeless amidst this changing? That we have to find. All right. Thank you, everyone. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.